The Katechon and the Unending Fire is the debut mini LP or cassette tape from Pyrkagion, however you would pronounce that. This is a trio from the Seattle, Washington area, and it is a black metal band that leans towards maybe some more orthodox ideas, maybe the original sort of satanic orthodox feeling of some of those typically unorthodox style bands. And it comes from members of Hissing, Bellwitch, and Infernal Coil. I think the guy from Infernal Coil was also in a death grind band, but maybe Infernal Coil and his work in that band is more relevant to what this is, which is sort of two very long, two 12 to 14 minute pieces that form either side of the tape that tell their own sort of narrative through a mixture of semi-dissonant guitar work, generally a black metal focus, which tends towards a little bit more memorable songwriting thanks to leads that help create something more concrete of the very jam-packed with ideas, pieces that are on this thing. So we'll cut into a song here just to give you an idea of what this sounds like. So we could reference something like Weakling for the general cacophony and the sort of range of sound on this thing. And maybe earlier Watan could be referenced for some of the melodic bits of the lead guitars that sort of solidify the idea and keep the whole thing tuneful on each side of the tape. But we don't quite get there with either comparison. I think that there's, first of all, there's just a couple of basic notes to take here. The drumming is fantastic. I think the compositions of the songs are quite coherent for how long they are, and I think there's a complex conversation to weave from the rhythms and the sort of bestial aggression of these songs that just won't release its thought on the first pass. I really had to work through this record in maybe deeper thought and analysis about 5 or 6 times before I sort of began to get the breadth and the scope of each song and start to see the sort of conversation as it maybe as it developed as they put the songs together. I assume that this was probably worked on during pandemic years, and it doesn't quite feel like there is such a distance between these ideas that it was phoned in any sense. These are pretty intense and very detailed pieces that speak well to the future. I think that if they continue to work with this level of synth and definitely keeping the melodic leads quite active, I think there's an interesting thought here, at least. And the theme is quite interesting too. It's just cryptic enough and just obvious enough to where it does feel like they are touching upon that unorthodox black metal feeling without relying on dissonance too much or just being too predictable. So I love that. Again, I love that there's a melodic aspect to this, and it makes it a little bit more memorable. So this gets a moderately high recommendation. Definitely worth reading through the written review for more info, and it comes out tomorrow.